day. So this video I'm about to do now, okay, was triggered by a young man who came on my page, and he wanted us to have this video together where he wanted us to talk on causes of domestic violence. And I found that really absurd because I don't think that there is any. My understanding of causes of domestic violence is going to be different from what a typical African brain thinks are the causes. He claimed he's done a lot of research and there are triggers that 67% of domestic violence that they are triggered. And for me, that was the cutoff point in our conversation. I'm not going to have a conversation with somebody who believes that the reason that they are being mad is triggered by your madness is triggered by somebody else. Because in my understanding, anyone who engages in domestic violence needs mental evaluation. And that's what I want to say. If you're a woman today, you're living with a man who is violating you, just know that you're living with somebody who needs to go for mental check. And very soon, from that thing you're condoning and enduring and praying about, you're going to end up on the news like these ones that we're discussing. So if you're there and you believe that it is something you're doing that is triggering the man, and you're living with somebody who needs their head checked properly, you know, he's going to take actions and he believes that you are the trigger in his life, you really need to be cautious about it. So today I'm going to really talk about some of the things I think that are causes of domestic violence based on my own research over time, based on my interaction with people, and based on my own independent research. And the first thing that I would say to women, I'm talking to women and to men who believe that their violence is triggered. You're going to be the one finding where you belong in this. I'm going to make 4 points in this video. The first point I'm going to make is people who engage in domestic violence, extend domestic violence to their spouses. When you look at their history, in majority of the cases, these people are people that were raised in an environment of abuse. These things are things they saw their fathers do to their mothers. You know, they were raised in that environment. Their mothers were dumb enough not to pack them out of that environment to a new location so that those children will not be raised in that environment. What they saw their father do is what they eventually extend to their wives when they marry them. Because environment determines 60% of your personality. The environment that you're raised in controls 60% of how you function in life. So those boys who were raised in those homes, no matter how you pray for them, Adane, the best thing you can do is to pack yourself out of that environment, because that environment that your child is being raised in is what is informing how they will function, is their development. That's what they will become, okay? So this is the first reason why people turn out to become abusive to their spouses, to abusive men, because I talk about abusive men. People who are discussing abusive women, because that's also another angle to this thing. I've heard a lot of people saying I need to balance the topic. There are also women abusers. Yes, I know there are also women abusers, but that's not my topic. I'm not interested in that topic. People that are having that conversation, you can go on their platform and listen to them, okay? Yeah, so going back to what I'm saying. So you have been raised in that environment, and you know those are the things you've imbibed, so you take it to your new home and you become that way, you know. And you find out that a lot of these boys, these are things they didn't even like that their father was doing to their mom, but they just grow up and become that way. So that tells us that your environment is playing a role on that child at that time, on that child who has eventually become the adult. Then the second thing about people who are involved in domestic violence are peers. You know, you surround yourself with people and friends and this mindset, you know, men like you who believe that a woman in your life, is just a doormat that should be oppressed, that should be suppressed and oppressed. You find out that men have this conversation. A lot of men, when they go to those drinking places and the places where they hang out and meet up, the kind of people they surround themselves with are the people that feed their minds with this information of how to treat a woman. You find out that a lot of men, if you are truthful to yourself, when you were getting married, there are this group of people that come to advise you, fellow men, adults, that come to tell you how to treat a woman and live with a woman. And these are things you imbibe into your home, that bring that bias into your union with your woman. And anything she does, because your mindset is already biased, you begin to react based on that information that your friends and those people that have advised you have given to you, and you start treating that woman like, an animal. And I want to ask ladies, women who endure these men that abuse them, in your own father's house, how often did your father treat you in this way? And if you have answered this question for yourself, why would you endure, a man you call your husband treating you like an animal, something you didn't experience in your own father's house? How do you allow another person to treat you in that manner because they said you are the one who triggered them? I don't know how you triggering them, but I don't believe that anybody triggers an insane person, okay? Because when any man who engages in domestic violence, I don't see a difference between you and insanity. You need the mental evaluation. Just go and sort it out. Then the third reason why people, married couples, talking about Nigeria now, I know there's domestic violence all over the world, but my concern is in Nigeria, are in-laws. You see, these in-laws, a lot of them don't want marriages to work. You marry a woman, you don't accept her. You just married her as that, person who is supposed to populate your generation for you. They don't accept her. Then you start engineering the man, telling him things, especially those ones that come into your house once in a while, they live there with you. These are some of the problems that women are facing. Men who don't know where to draw the line between the conversation they're having with their new family and their old family. They allow these interferences to affect their union, and before you know what's happening, you start extending violence to your wife. A lot of the cases I've heard are in-laws that have engineered these things. They are the ones that, they start talking to their son, they start blacklisting this lady and, saying all sorts of things that didn't happen. And before you know it, the man starts treating the woman badly. So in-laws are indicted on this topic as part of the causes of domestic violence in homes. If you're truly sincere to yourself, these 3 points I've made today, you would see that if you're a man watching me and you're one of these people that I'm talking about, who you're always looking for who to blame, besides yourself, you will find yourself in one of these 3. These are the common ones. Then the fourth one, which are the uncommon ones, because these first 3 are the common ones. These ones are the ones that happen because of environmental factors. Then the fourth one, reason why people can become domestically violent towards their spouses, are this group of people that they call narcissistic. I don't know why that word, narcissism. Okay, go and check it up. Go and read about it. There are people that are that way. Okay, there are people that, those ones, they just need help. And if you find out that you're living with someone who has narcissistic tendencies, my darling, there is no amount of prayer that you pray that will change that person. Just know that that one is already doomed to destroy you and doomed to destroy themselves. You don't have any business with that person. Find your bags and get out of that place. And that is why I keep telling our ladies, okay, you marry a man, you don't go and open your bum and start having babies in the first year, because these are the ways you tie yourself in this union. You start having baby 1, in 4 years, you already have 4 children. What the hell is wrong with you? You don't do that. Then you find out that this guy is abusing you. You don't have enough resources to get yourself a new place. Your parents have already abandoned you to this man. This was how that girl died. The family of the girl, this Newi killing of last week, They knew that that guy was maltreating her, but there was nothing they could do, or maybe the girl didn't want to leave that place. So, my ladies, if you really want to be happy with your life, you marry a man. Since you don't know that man, what he can become in future, please don't be in a hurry to start having kids. Allow time, build relationship, understand the person you're working with. The person you dated is different from husband when you start living with them, so you need to give time to that relationship to grow, for him to even understand you, because when you start getting pregnant, you start having children, there are a whole lot of issues that you've introduced into that union that was just between the two of you. There are variables, there are factors that will now start affecting that relationship. So what you need to do after marriage is not to be in a hurry to get pregnant, to increase your issues. You've not even known the kind of man that you're living with. Spend time to understand him. Give 2 years, even 3 years is not bad. If you guys have not sorted out your finances, because I keep talking about this issue of finances, because a lot of the violent cases still have, some of their root causes in finances. Money matters. These are some of the reasons why people get triggered and they claim that they are triggered. Didn't you know that you needed money before you started having those children? Am I the one holding your torchlight for you when you people are doing your due? So please, my people, any man that is watching this video that believes that their wife triggered them to raise their hands on them, and you now start beating that woman every day, please check yourself among these 4 points I've said today. Either you have been raised in that environment where your father was treating your mother that way, or you associate with friends who believe in what you believe. You align with their values, that a woman should be beaten for her to have sense. I've heard men say these things. Or you, your in-laws, your relatives are the ones that, have sown the wrong seeds in your heart that has colored your view of your partner. Or you have narcissistic personality. So these 4 points, I'm going to leave them with us today. Go and think about them, and I expect and I know that our men are going to jump out from everywhere to attack this video. I'm waiting for you guys in the comment section. Yeah, so just to let that young man know, please, I'm not interested in that research that you have found, that novel idea of 67% domestic violence cases are being triggered. If you're being triggered to be domestically violent to your spouse, go and have a mental evaluation on yourself, okay? I'm not interested in that conversation, because that's not what I believe. That's not my position. Yeah, thank you.